What's up, all my movie-loving maniacs? This is your boy Baneful B of the Lassiter Factor, and today I'm going to talk about Thunderbolts, which was released in theaters over the weekend on my birthday, and I'm getting this review out a little late because, again, it was my birthday. I had things planned for the weekend, so right now I'm just catching up, but here is my review of Thunderbolts, so let's review. So Thunderbolts is basically Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad, in which they take all the anti-heroes or secondary characters from different Marvel movies and shows and try to make, well, essentially turn a bunch of anti-heroes or non-heroes into a team. They bond and come together to go up against this new villain called the Void. Now, I ain't gonna lie, right now Marvel is not off to a good start this year, and I had some high hopes. I thought this would be the year that they finally turned the tide. Captain America Brave New World, while I enjoyed it, it was a little underwhelming, and so was Daredevil Born Again. And so I had high hopes for Thunderbolts because it was a little different. I know there were some people out there that wasn't really excited about this, but I was because, again, it was something different. It's Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad, and we're going back to some characters that either Marvel has not gone back to or have kind of left to the sideline for a little bit. Plus, this is like a concept that has never been done in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But now that I've seen it, how do I feel? I like it, but didn't love it. In fact, honestly, I felt the Suicide Squad, James Gunn's Suicide Squad, did this whole concept better. Now, let me be clear. If you enjoyed this movie, awesome. I'm glad you did. And I'm not saying this is even a bad movie. I'm just saying I kind of expected just a little bit more from this movie, but I do appreciate the themes that this film presents, which is probably why people are gravitating towards it. And that's the themes of depression, loneliness, trauma, having a chip on your shoulder, being a failure. I will even say that this movie is really an unofficial sequel to the Black Widow movie from a few years ago, because this movie is more or less centers around Yelena Belova, played by Florence Pugh once again, and Red Guardian, played by David Harbour. And I do like that Yelena is kind of the heart of the story because she has the most trauma to deal with. Well, I'm not saying all the characters don't have, or the amount of trauma that the characters have, but I'm just saying she's the one in which her trauma is really weighing on her shoulders. And her sister, Natasha, the Black Widow, she is not around no more, so she really feels lonely. I love seeing David Harbour back as Red Guardian. In fact, he was one of my favorite parts about the Black Widow movie from a few years ago. He's just this overgrown super soldier that has delusions of grandeur, and that's just something that's just funny to me. John Walker, played once again by Wyatt Russell, while they do present what he's going through mentally in this movie, I don't feel any different about him the same way I felt about him at the end of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series. But he did have his moments. I was excited to see Hannah John-kamen back as Ghost, mainly because I want to see her get more work, but also because we haven't seen this character since Ant-Man and the Wasp back in 2018, so it's nice that Marvel's finally getting back to this character because it just feels like they just brushed her character off to the side. But honestly, once you see her in this movie, it really don't do anything different. It just feels like Kevin Feige went in and said, all right, what are some characters, loopholes, and plot holes, or plot points, I should say, that we have yet to address again. Oh, we still got Ghost from this movie? Oh, I forgot you were here. Just put her in the Thunderbolts then. And again, I'm not against Hannah John-kamen getting more work, especially in the MCU. I just wish they gave her more to work with. Taskmaster is back, and all I'm going to say is don't get too attached to this character. And I'll further elaborate how I feel about that in a later video. Sebastian Stan returns as Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, and I like that he's stepping into more of a leadership position and we get to see him in a congressman role. But at this point, Sebastian Stan, he can play this role in his sleep, and they gave him almost nothing to do except just be the leader and be the one. Well, granted, I will say this movie is a moment of growth for him because he didn't move past all his trauma and moved all his Winter Soldier shit, and so now he's the one that's more emotionally mature. So I like that they did that for this character. But Julia Louis-Dreyfus returns as Valentina, and she's basically the Amanda Waller of this movie, and I'll say she was another bright spot in this movie. She was funny at times. And you really feel that she's the true villain of this movie, that you were just rooting for the Thunderbolts. There's Bob, played by Luis Pullman, the son of Bill Pullman, And he's also on the Century in this movie, in which he did an excellent job with this character, and I can't wait to see what they, well, not to spoil anything. Then there's The Void, and that's all I'm going to say about that because he plays a much larger part in this movie. I like this movie, but again, I didn't love it. And that's mainly because this is a section of the MCU that I love. I like when we go back to that more grounded and realistic tone of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's what I love about movies like the Captain America movies or even the Black Panther movies. And I would have just hoped for a movie that basically is within that realm of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I just wish that it would actually stay in that realm. And I know, again, it's in a universe that is dealing with gods and superheroes, but still. You have a character in this movie that is essentially Superman, and I feel like that just takes away from that overall tone that Thunderbolts was going for. And don't get me wrong, I like, recognize, and respect the fact that this movie is willing to tackle really serious and heavy themes like depression and trauma, that it manifests within superpowers, but at the same time, I just wish that this movie would stay a more grounded entry, if that makes sense. Regardless, I still really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the action. I do like some of the character work that they did with these characters. Other than that, I still really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the ending, and I like some of the character work that they did here. And as for the end credit scenes, I'll say this: the first post-credit scene was actually pretty funny because it actually ties into the marketing, and then the last end credit scene, the scene that came at the end of the credits, it was the first end credit scene in a long time that actually got me excited for the next movie. But when it's all said and done, I'd say if you're thinking about seeing this movie, just wait till it hits Disney Plus. But if you did see this movie and you really enjoyed it, hey, more power to you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm just calling bullshit that this is one of the best Marvel movies post Endgame. I'm gonna give Thunderbolts the thumbs up emoji. Thank y'all so much for watching. Have you seen Thunderbolts? If so, let me know what you think in the comment section below. This is your boy Bankful B of the Lassiter Factor. Stay safe, wash your hands. Peace.